Hello everybody, my name is Markjima, and this video is not a retrospective on Yakuza 0, but more so why I love the series as a whole, and particularly Yakuza 0. Now, my introduction to the Yakuza series began with Kiwami 1, when it was a free game back in 2018. I didn't play it very long, where I dropped it around chapter 2. Not long after, around Christmas of 2020, I bought Yakuza 0. And not long after, I bought Kiwami 2 and then Yakuza 3, 4 and 5. Now, this game didn't take me very long to get hooked whatsoever. From the opening sequence to the beginning chapter, all of it was just, it got me immediately. Seeing how they portrayed Kiryu and Ishiki as brothers in this game, especially with knowledge of what happens in Kiwami 1, seeing them two being portrayed as brothers and being so involved in one another's lives. Now, speaking of characters, Yakuza, one of the 3 lieutenants that you meet during the story mode, for mainly Kiryu's side, but for both of them, Yakuza is an incredible antagonist. You fight him repeatedly throughout the game, at least 3 or 4 times. You fight him, and each fight is fantastic. His theme is fantastic, his intros are amazing. Like, the music in this game, while we're speaking on Yakuza, the music in Yakuza 0 throughout the whole series is probably some of Sega's best work. Not even Sega's, but it's honestly, it's up there with Tekken and Sonic and Persona, and honestly any other game that you think has great music. Yakuza is levels above, I'm not gonna lie to you. Another thing that Yakuza has is the characters as a whole, and we can't talk about characters and we can't talk about Yakuza without talking about Goro Markjima. Literally the character my account name is based off. Chapter 3 of Yakuza 0, where you see Markjima and he walks down those steps, looks completely different to how everyone knows him. Like, people know Markjima outside of the Yakuza games, and they think of the snake skin and the baseball bat and the Joker of Yakuza pretty much. And then we see him, he's all serious, he's in the little tux, and the whole chapter is amazing. Markjima's intro in this game is literally one of the best character introductions I've seen. Now, in terms of the actual story, it's great seeing how he becomes how he is and what leads him to becoming the Mad Dog of Shimano. Seeing how he's trying to get back into the Yakuza, he gets told to kill this person, and seeing why he wants back in, because he wants to get back in to be there for his brother, for Saijima. And it turns out that he wasn't even responsible for the hit, or for missing out on the hit, that he got captured and made sure like he betrayed him. So he wants to go back and see Saijima when he gets released and let him kill him for abandoning him pretty much. Although there's a bit of continuity error, with Zero being a prequel coming out after Yakuza 5, I think 4 even, when we first meet Saijima. But that's for another video. Another character I want to talk about is Akira Nishikiyama. Now, I spoke about him briefly earlier with how they portrayed his and Kiryu's brotherhood and how much they've been to one another, and especially in chapter 6 where Kiryu has left the Tojo clan and he's on the run and they're essentially looking to kill him, so they've sent Nishiki out to help look for him. Nishiki's found Kiryu, they've driven out to the woods, and his plan is to kill Kiryu so that the Yakuza don't brutally murder him.
もうこうするしかねえんだよ。なんでこうなっちまったんだろうな。どっから歯車がずれた。
組の命令ってことなのか、錦。
そんなんじゃねえ。
うん。
桐生。
And has this whole speech where he pours his heart out to Kiryu and tells him he's nothing without him. If Kiryu isn't with him, he doesn't know what to do with himself. Like, Kiryu is his everything.
人間がどの程度痛めつければ死ぬのかよく知ってる。それをとことん死なねえように殺すんだ。生かしたまんま。できるだけ長く苦しむようにだ。生きたまま解剖されるような拷問されて、散々痛めつけられた挙句、そして後になって見つかった死体はもう人間と呼べるようなもんじゃねえ。俺はな、桐生、兄弟としておめえにそんな死に方させられねえよ。
And Kiryu, it just tells him to be better. Like, imagine your brother is on his knees after pointing a gun to the back of your head, trying to kill you so you don't die miserably, sobbing, weeping, bawling his eyes out.
なんだよ、こっちみんな見んじゃねえよ桐生、頼むから。
情けねえこと言うんじゃねえ。そんなんじゃてっぺん取れねえぞ。どうした？しっかり狙えよ。まだ死んでねえぞ。
撃てねえよ。撃てるわけねえよ。やっぱり俺はおめえと一緒じゃなきゃダメだ。国道として。俺なんか今まで生きてこられたのもおめえがそばにいたからだ。俺はおめえが一緒じゃなきゃ何やっても半端で意味がねえんだよ。
俺だって。
And Kiryu just tells him to kill me and rise up in the ranks. Like, and Kiryu, and Nishiki's just like, I can't do that. Like, I can't kill you. And Kiryu, look at him, he turns around, looks at him and tells him, you know, be a man, put a bullet between my eyes and use me to ascend the ranks. And Nishiki just can't do it. He can't see his brother die. And then Kiryu just steals his car. He hates his car and leaves Nishiki in the woods, which is crazy. But that whole scene at the end of chapter 6, literally, I've got a photo somewhere saved in my camera roll of me watching that cutscene for the first time, and I'm sitting there bawling. His performance as Nishiki is phenomenal. I'm so glad that he came back to voice Ichiban. The way he portrays the emotion in these characters is it just hits so hard. He's such an incredible voice actor. Also in chapter 6, beginning of that, we have the second Yakuza fight, I believe, and we see him coming down the subway, pipe in hand, with the insane soundtrack to his fight. The fight itself it's whatever it is, not too big a deal. But the intro, the build-up, it's this whole long battle of Kiryu escaping through Kamurocho. He thinks he's safe, he runs down to the subway, just for Kyusei to be there at the end of the tunnel, and then his theme kicks in, and it's such a great fight. Chapter 6 is probably one of my favourite chapters in the entirety of Yakuza 0. I started off the video saying it's not going to be a retrospective, and here I am talking about chapter after chapter. The last thing I want to mention chapter-wise is the following chapter, chapter 7, where we meet Nishitani. And Nishitani is an interesting character. He basically serves as one of the reasons why Markjima becomes a mad dog and why he acts the way he does. And we see it. It's interesting to see that dynamic between a serious Markjima and essentially the future version of himself, knife in hand, the crazy laughing, spinning on the floor. And he ends up becoming a very likeable character. He doesn't last long, however. I'm pretty sure he dies in a few chapters. But he's a fun little character. It's funny considering that Markjima is my favourite character in the series. However, I like Nishitani, but I don't have much to say on him, to be honest. What I do have a lot to say about is the other things you can do in this game outside of the main story. Now, everyone knows Yakuza has a bunch of side stories and minigames. My personal favourite has to be the karaoke. Every single Yakuza game, as soon as I have the option to do karaoke, I'm in there doing karaoke. You can't forget the iconic Back and Mitai. When that whole thing became a meme and blew up Yakuza over here in the West. 24 Hour Cinderella. Just amazing songs carried on throughout the entire series, to be fair. Mainly from like Yakuza 5 onwards, I want to say. 5, 6, 0, Kiwami 1 and 2, 7, 8 have bangers too. Also, we have the Pocket Circuit, which I didn't get into until fairly late, I'm not gonna lie. When I played Yakuza 0, because I was trying to get through the series pretty much as fast as possible, I made a beeline through the main story for most of the games. So when I went back to start doing side missions, I then did Pocket Circuit, and it's a very fun little mini game. Like, there's a game in the game, you get all these parts, and you race these kids, and it's just a very fun experience. What isn't a fun experience is Mahjong. I have nothing further to say on it. I've never played Mahjong in my life. I'm tired of them being in every single game. I'm not taking time out of my life to learn how to play Mahjong because of these games. It's not gonna happen. The business battles, however, for Kiryu, he has his business battles. You go around and you purchase properties, and once you get to a certain amount of ownership in the area, the respective king, I believe it's 4 kings, they come and challenge you to a business battle where it ends up being you have a fight and then you claim the area, they end up working for you, and you rinse and repeat until you get to the last person, and that's a whole side story in itself. And once you do that, you unlock the 5th fighting style, the 4th fighting style for Kiryu, being his legend style, which is his dragon style in Kiwami 1. Kiryu's original fighting style in the older games. And for Markjima, he has the cabaret mini games, which honestly I have a lot of fun with. Now, I don't know if it's because I like dressing up characters, but being able to you collect these women to work for you, and you dress them up, you have them running your little business, and it's very fun, way more fun than I ever thought I would have with it. But I loved it. Now the side stories, you can't talk about a Yakuza game and not talk about the side stories. I can't even go on about all of them because there's just so many between both Kiryu and Markjima. But some of the ones that come to mind immediately is there's a whole side story where Kiryu has to teach this woman how to become a better dominatrix. And there's a section where you can give her a tip on what to do, what to say to her customers. So she essentially verbally degrades Kiryu in this public park where there's kids around, and there's this moment, and he just looks up to the sky and he goes, "What is wrong with my life?" And that type of humor is just so common throughout like the side stories, and the way they managed to blend this serious crime drama right next to completely ridiculous side stories is great. Like, it's such a perfect mix, where 1 second you're doing Pocket Circuit and you're racing kids in this little like Hot Wheels ass side game, or you're doing karaoke, or you gotta give this guy toilet paper because he's ran out and he needs to wipe his ass, and then you're bawling your heart out to these intimate moments between characters. But there's a scene where Kiryu and Nishiki finally reunite. After this, like near the end of the game, they finally reunite. They're fighting through the street together, and they're going to save Tachibana. And when I was doing it, I was doing side missions. So imagine, there's this one where this couple, this like high school couple, or whatever it is over there, they are going through a rough patch because he finds, the guy finds out that she has been earning min money suspiciously on the side, and he finds out she's been selling her underwear or something. So Kiryu's like, well, she's too young to be doing all that, they're gonna put us up to it. And that's also another crazy side story. And then after I do that, I'm then having this emotional moment with Kiryu where he's bawling his eyes out, and like one of Kiryu's best moments. And it does not feel jarring at all going from one to the other. It just works. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it literally just works. The final thing I want to touch on about Yakuza 0 is the actual gameplay. Now, Kiryu and Markjima have 3 fight styles each, and then doing their respective side mission. For Markjima, it is a cabaret club minigame with Club Sunshine, and for Kiryu, it is his business battles. Doing that gives you Kiryu's Legend stance, which is his original fighting style from Yakuza 1 to 5, and Markjima gets his Mad Dog style, which is incredibly fun and incredibly busted. My favourite out of his styles. And for Kiryu, I like Legend. I prefer Rush. I like being able to go fast. But speaking of, Rush for Kiryu lets you go fast. It's a lot of sidestepping and dodging and quick attacks. Brawler is a mix of everything. You have good defense, you have a parry, of course you have a iconic tiger drop, and Beast, it's in the name, it's Beast. You one hand grab people, throw them into the ground, pick up motorbikes, and just swing them around, destroying everything. Your defense is literally just, he starts tanking stuff with his chest, like a beast. With Markjima, he gets Thug, which is his, my second favourite stance for Markjima. I lied, my third, because my second favourite is Breaker, where he literally starts breakdancing, like he's Eddie Gordo from Tekken, starts spinning on the floor, doing handstands, and it's so fun. Breaker stance for Markjima is some of the most fun in any game combat I've had. And that says a lot, because there's a lot of combat in games I've played, from like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta to even like the Souls games. And Breaker Markjima is just up there. Even in like actual fighting games, it's up there as one of my all-time favourites. Now, while I have spoiled other parts in this video, I'm not going to spoil the ending of the game, because I truly believe it is one of the most satisfying games to play through, between the main missions and the side stories, the mini games, seeing the character development, seeing characters like Makoto and Tachibana, who I didn't even mention in this video. There's so much to this game, and whenever anyone ever asks me for any recommendations, I will always and forever recommend this game. It is a fantastic story, fantastic gameplay, great music. The game itself doesn't look too bad considering it's a 2016 game. Could be wrong on that. And if you're looking to get into the series, you should absolutely start with Yakuza 0. I don't care what anybody says, start with 0 and it makes Kiwami 1 10 times better than if you play Kiwami 1, then went back to 0 and then went to 2. The game's literally called Yakuza 0. Why would you not start with a game with the number 0 in it? Anyway, let me stop myself before I go on a whole another tangent. That's for another video. This has been why I love Yakuza 0 and why it's my favourite game of all time and my favourite game in the Yakuza franchise. I've been Markjima. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you in my next Yap sesh.